moving around the map.
So, before we let you go, as the timer ticks down here on draft, last question before you leave us. Who won draft here? FlyQuest or VivoCade?
I think Cade did win draft here.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. ThinkCard gives the vote of confidence to the LTA South #1 seed here after this first one. ThinkCard, thank you so much for lending us your brain here for this first draft. We'll try to get you back on here more throughout the day as the series continues. But now it's time to head on to Summoner's Rift here for the first time in this best of 5. The Game 1 Irelia Ivern combo. Just some standard good old League of Legends, right? Nothing crazy here.
Totally normal. We've seen this plenty of times. I did just look up Gakos all-time Irelia is his second most played in his professional career. And if we are to take FlyQuest at their word for what they said when they originally signed Gakos, it was to bring in a unique champion pool to the top lane. And they are definitely putting that to the test here in Game 1.
Yeah, it is a risky champion. It makes a lot of people nervous.
I'm very nervous immediately.
But I will say, Ivern is a jungle champ that can very easily play to camp a lane. And he could, go camp for this Irelia for Gakos and try and accelerate this Irelia to become, very favored in a 1 versus Ambessa. So we'll see about the Ivern pathing here from Inspired and how tricky he gets with it.
It's always such an interesting champ for those early paths, too, because of the fact that the weird clear just gives him so many different types of options compared to standard junglers. But looking across the board here, seeing what we've got, it is baseline flash heal for both supports alongside the Summoner's Spellbook, so both of them opting for that creativity as the game goes on. Comment on the Varus means Morteos should just be going for the standard lethality type of Varus, combined with some powerful poke at long range to try to whittle these guys down a bit. But again, man, Ivern teams can be so difficult to get them off of somewhere once they're already entrenched.
I actually really like that he's going with Ghost Flash too on the Varus, so he can dodge some root callers, dodge some Jhin skill shots, and make use of that mobility.
All right, well, the minions have collided, but while we're still at level 1, Kangas is standing by for an interview with FlyQuest coach Nuke Duck.
All right, Nuke Duck, we have to ask you, first game Irelia coming out here. Talk me through why that decision was made.
It's just something Gakos is good on. He is like a very good mechanical player, and yeah, it's one of his good champs, and he thinks he can make it work there. So I mean, yeah.
So far, we've only seen him on the Rumble. So how much was getting him on Comfort a priority for you coming into the series?
I mean, the series is still yet to be played, but yeah, it is important that Gakos is comfortable, yeah, because he's not that experienced. So. Yeah, it's a balance of getting him on comfort and making sure the guys that are experienced and are supposed to lead him also has a situation where they can do that. So yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks so much for talking with us. Back to the casters.
All right. I'm excited for this Irelia, man. I think it's such a flashy champion when it works, and obviously, based on the concerns we were talking about earlier, we know how it can also go the other way pretty quick.
Okay, well, good things for him are that both junglers are pathing away, so the Xin is not pathing up to the top side matchup either, and Inspired here is going to end up on the same side as the Xin, is going to mirror on the bottom side, and Ivern does clear very quickly as we see the trades getting down to 50% health there, but Ivern clears so quickly that he can go for the invade.
Yeah, and Inspired just getting more vision of the Xin, not necessarily pushing him off the Gromp right now, but making sure they have control of the map. And I think the biggest thing about the Irelia lane is if you're not going to camp it, you need to make sure the other team isn't able to camp it. So as long as FlyQuest can keep Akali in mid and control this bot lane, they should be okay. But Inspired getting collapsed on.
Wow! Flash coming out from Trimby there very early, trying to make the play on Inspired, but Inspired respectfully flashes in response as soon as he sees it, gets away.
Yeah, flash for flash here, and it is going to be top side Scuttle Crab for him instead, as he was chased off the bottom one, which does mean Busio and Masu have to back off, but they're completely fine with that after fully shoving the wave.
Big thing to always keep in mind with these Irelia lanes, since this is a champion we don't see much of these days. It's all about that passive, the Ionian Fervor. If he gets that thing stacked up with all 4 stacks, he's way scarier than if he doesn't have them. But now the engage here with the bottom side, Busio and Masu going in for the 2v2. Morteos knocked down to about 300 HP there, forced to pop the Ghost to get away.
Oh, I like that. FlyQuest, they stick around in the bottom brush. They do a little brush surprise there for the FlyQuest duo, getting some extra damage. Meanwhile, topside, again, since we highlighted both junglers' path away from topside, it allowed Gakkos to have a lot of very favorable one-on-one time here versus Boao. He's got him whittled down, and Inspired can now shadow on the second clear for both junglers. And they already confirmed Xin is topside, but full wave shoved here, so Gakkos is just fine.
All right, Wall just going to absorb the wave underneath the tier 1 turret there. Happy to just keep farming up as safely as he can, because right now, the biggest individual gold lead is Gakkos on that Irelia. Has been having a strong first 5 minutes of laning phase here in this game number 1. You can see he's always got this lane control, always got the priority. And it looks like Boal might go for his first reset here, but decides to cancel instead.
Yeah, Gakkos keeping up the pressure here. Used his teleport. Boal decides to hold on to his. Probably needs a little bit more money here for a more ideal buy.
Ooh, another nice engage coming out there from Busio. Immediately followed up with the deadly flourish. It's such a nasty combo between the Alistar and the Jhin, but a nice piercing arrow back from Vivo K-Star's bottom lane means that they can at least trade something a little bit here.
For sure, and it looks like this game, at least at first, has a good amount of control in it. The Irelia is free pushing on the top side. The Azir is going even with the Akali, and I feel like FlyQuest is getting fairly favorable trades down on the bot lane. And something I've noticed about FlyQuest as well is they are a very disciplined team. They will only take fights when they feel like it is the right time in the game to do so. And a lot of times with Ivern, that's not super early in the game. So I'm not expecting FlyQuest to make any very aggressive plays early, as long as the Irelia is in a good spot.
I also want to point out Trimby here. You know, this Bard has the opportunity to roam up to that solo lane as well, and he went for a Dark Seal on his first purchase. So Trimby is expecting to get some stacks, to get into some early action here with the Bard. This roaming champion very well could find some timers to go punish the Irelia. Currently, though, since they've got control of the bottom side of Scuttle Crab, they push in on bottom side. They'll have full vision control of the dragon area.
Desamas has exactly what you want out of a team every time there's a bottom river Scuttle Crab. Every time that spawns, it's both Trimby and Miru collapsing on there just to make sure that if anybody wants to contest Xin for that crab, it's not going to happen.
Okay, so Inspired could go instantly steal this red. He has a smite, so Ivern could just channel and smite instantly away red buff. If Xin Zhao is not able to touch him, there is a blast code, but he's too slow. Yoinkity yoink.
Gets the vision on the grubs too very quickly. I'd say the Akali was hunting for him a little bit with that River Ward, but Inspired ends up getting away with it. That's those small little Ivern victories. You always want to be able to steal the second respawn of a major camp just because he's the fastest at actually clearing it once he has smite.
Exactly, and it's so frustrating from the other jungler's point of view. You get there just in time to see the red being stolen away, knowing it was just a couple seconds too fast. But gold between the teams really dead even right now after 7.5 minutes. But we do have the grubs spawning here in less than 30 seconds. Generally, that is going to result in some kind of a fight, or if nothing else, at least a trade for something else across the map.
And I actually really like this too, rushing for steel caps for Gakkos, because he's playing against a Xin jungle in addition to Ambessa. There is huge value in reducing auto attacks for him, whether he gets ganked or not. So gets some early armor, gets in there, and it looks like he is currently going back down to bottom side. His teleport will come up quicker, but I think the grub fight will probably be over by the time that teleport cooldown comes up.
About to happen.
All right. Desamas takes the first one of the grubs, hit by the root caller right after as Daisy continues harassing him here a little bit. Inspired does have the rest of FlyQuest coming up to support him now, as Vivo K-Stars are also going to bring in some additional reinforcements.
Yeah, Boal is actually moving upriver, so FlyQuest, if they're going to fight, has to fight fast.
Okay, but the teleport for Gakkos might also be able to join, but it seems like FlyQuest are saying no. Again, this is that discipline that you were talking about, Jat. They don't want to take the fight yet, so they're just going to pump the brakes on this one, and it means Vivo K-Stars get all 3 grubs.
It does, but it also means that while Boal left that bottom lane, Gakkos was trying to hold the freeze, so he denied a few minions from that lane. They're still getting a small advantage on that Irelia. The rest of the map, though, is pretty stable.
And it is a long lane down there, so we wonder, can he actually make a play post-level 6?
He's going for it.
Tries to go in for the Vanguard's edge. Public Execution's not going to have a whole lot there for Boal. Gakkos needs a couple more auto attacks, but he forces the flash out of the VKS top.
And Boal already has no TP, so it's going to change the dimensions of the map. They're sending reinforcements with Xin and Bard on the way.
Gakkos here, the confidence in game 1 on this stage. is going to be able to push in the rest of the wave, but getting the solo flash blown and just trading ultimates there as well. The key, you know, sidestepping the Ambessa ultimate that he was expecting to come out as Boal is running away.
Here. Bard is still in the river, so he's weak side right now. Gakkos needs to respect this.
Okay, it looks like
Really
he
well
will.
done, really well done. All right, the Aurelia's looking good so far.
Yeah.
100 CS,
No complaints.
99 CS before 10 minutes. Incredibly high CS per minute, hasn't missed much. Fighting mid lane though.
Yeah, Miru wants to go in after Quad, but immediately shuffled right back out of the smoke, and that means Miru has to use the second part of his ultimate to disengage there. The perfect execution gets him right back to safety. Honestly, neither one of these mid laners too worse for wear, considering both ultis were committed and both teams had backup coming in.
Yep, exactly. Pretty fair trade there. Quad getting a decent amount of damage as he still has his support roaming around. Busio presence allows them to retain control here. Dragon's still not taken, by the way. So
nope.
this is a very delayed Dragon Soul game. That's not going to be on the table early at all in this game, with the first one being so delayed, so we won't have that extra pressure. And we'll see as it does come down to the team fights. Inspired on a ward once again, though.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about this Aurelia as well as this Ivern, so let's take a look at some of the records that we have. So Inspired has played more Ivern than most, I would say.
Yeah.
He was pulling it out at Worlds. He pulls it out in a lot of split finals last year. Overall 8-3 record as they're actually looking to crash a wave onto Gakkos' Aurelia. And we're going to take a quick look at his Aurelia stats as well. Not as impressive, but still his second most played all time at 4-4. They're going from area.
Yeah, the curtain call. Miru needs to sidestep this last one. Fourth shot flies in and goes wide left. Nicely played from Miru.
Trimby down here as well to try and help to make sure that Miru will be able to collect the rest of the wave. The attempt there, very close. Not going to be able to find the kill, so nobody getting paid for it yet. And I want to see if they actually take the opportunity on the reset to then start up Dragon, because Masu goes back for his Ghost Blade at the moment. And it looks like on the minimap they are indeed going to go for that play during the reset. Teleport comes out from Gakkos, but that's back. Or actually not Gakkos, it was Quad's teleport to pick up the bottom side.
And it does feel like FlyQuest, aside from going for that kill onto the Akali, is not trying to take early team fights that could snowball the Akali out of control. Once they're getting a few more items on the Aurelia and the Ivern, I think they'll be more confident to take fights.
Yeah, and you were talking about the Ivern itself. This kind of became a signature pick for Inspired at international tournaments. You were talking about Worlds, it was huge for them, and the way that they played it, they really did focus so heavily on their mid-game team fights, and that as a way to victory. So they are staying pretty focused on that. Of course, the wrinkle this time around is Aurelia. Aurelia becomes a completely different champion when you get Blade of the Ruin King. So once Gakkos gets his Blade of the Ruin King...
Oh, that was close. Miru landing the Shuriken flip there onto Quad, forces out the Emperor's Divide defensively, and then Miru just uses perfect execution back through it to avoid the displacement.
And Quad no TP means he's going to lose a good chunk. They're already down a little bit of plating down in that bot side. Gakkos, though, staying aggressive, has got Busio on the way.
Yeah, he wants to go in here. He already missed the flawless duet, but Boal's trying to turn this one back around. The public execution to buy himself a little bit of time. Busio's already used the Unbreakable Will, and the Vanguard's edge connects onto the Ambessa. Gakkos needs to continue putting the DPS in here. Nice use of the Pulverize to guarantee it from Busio, and it's Gakkos who picks it up. First blood over to FlyQuest.
First blood for Aurelia. That will pay for his Blade of the Ruin King as well. And this champion, when you do get Ivern shields on you, Aurelia can play quite a bit more aggressively, use that slow as well as the extra durability it's going to give you. He gets a turret play after it as well. So this is going to be a very good look for Gakkos, for Aurelia in the opener.
A 1,000 gold advantage before 14 minutes. And I will say, as someone who's a bit of an Ivern connoisseur as well, having a Fed Aurelia is incredible. Melee carries are the best things for Ivern because you just make them have that attached slow. And just watching this one more time, Boal did buy a lot of time before dying, but he was caught in a pretty bad situation, so a pretty easy execute there for Gakkos. Good job getting the gold over. Plus, because at the moment that that gank was happening, Bard was showing bot lane as well, so it allowed Gakkos to stick around for the extra play.
And I really want to credit Busio there, because Busio does a very good job pinstering on Boal, popping his ultimate immediately, and kind of pushing him back the other way to get the money into Aurelia. So Aurelia is going to be, the big, star and beneficiary there. But Busio, this is a guy that we have talked about all year long. Roam timers from him very big, and his move up to that lane might have huge ramifications for the rest of this game.
Well, you want to talk about roam timers. We've got a pretty important timer coming up here in 30 seconds as the Rift Herald is about to spawn. We can see both sides sending their players up towards that top side river. Is still slightly over a 1,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, most of that being concentrated on Gatgos' Irelia, but both neutral objectives thus far belong to Vivo Cade Stars.
And the top lane is such a huge story for this game, obviously because Gatgos is subbing in for Bwipo for the entire series, but also for the side of Boal. He talked about it on the Pros podcast that we had. Before being picked up by this team, he had basically been retired for 2 years. But then, because of losing Gigo over to Thinkard and Furia, he got the call. So it really does mean a lot to him, and we'll see about the rest of that matchup. Right now, though, the tower gold would be a huge issue. Miru also possibly going to be a huge issue. This guy could be a huge carry for VKS.
It's also just feats of strength going over to Vivo Cade Stars, because Inspired is bottom lane right now. They're not looking to contest this, it doesn't look like. They already have first turret, and this will be their third neutral objective when you include the 3 grubs. So that's feats over to VKS.
Yeah, nicely done by them, securing that extra boost in power for the shoes, plus the evolved shoe that you can buy later, but we're not quite at that point in the game here just yet. That first turret is also going to alleviate some of the pressure of the gold lead that FlyQuest had for themselves. And while it is still Gatgos with the 1,000 gold lead, the highest individual one in the game, the second highest individual gold lead is Miru Zakali over Quad Zazir, and it's nothing to scoff at. Just about 700 gold there for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle of assassins, kind of. A couple of melee assassins there, basically. We'll see about the rotation over. It looks like it's just a hover there for Busio, though.
And I'm really curious with this next raid coming up in 20 seconds if FlyQuest is going to try and set up to fight or just try and get a little bit of gold. I will say, in these games where FlyQuest deprioritize neutral objectives, which is something they do fairly often, they usually wait until third Drake to fight.
Busio, though, again, camping for the Aurelia.
There he goes, headbutt pulverized, immediately followed up by Gatgos, but now teleports are coming in, so FlyQuest does not want to overcommit underneath the enemy turret. Instead, they're going to play around the TPs. Miru trying to find an angle here from an assassination, but he can't quite do it. Goes into the smoke to buy himself a little bit more time. Quad still looking as well. Busio's got to be somewhat careful here on the Alistar, but still has Unbreakable Will. Somehow, nobody's dead.
Yeah, it's interesting. He made the call. He goes for using his flash and saving his Unbreakable Will because he was thinking about the fight afterwards. To see if he would still be able to use this ability. Quad.
Ooh, Trimby wanted to go for the flash Cosmic Binding there, but does not have the accuracy to put that pressure on Quad, who escapes it and doesn't even need to use his own flash. Now, of course, the cost for all of this going on topside was that Vivo Cade Stars could secure the second Drake of the game for themselves on the other side of the map, and now Trimby's under pressure. Busio's got to be careful as he is behind enemy lines. Unbreakable Will might not be that unbreakable. He goes on the magical journey through the wall, trying to escape. Desamas doesn't hit the wind, becomes lightning, and now it's Quad. Caught out by the Tempered Fate. Uses the Emperor's Divide defensively as Desamas tries to go over the wall, but he cannot stick to the targets. FlyQuest somehow gets both men out alive.
No way they get out of that! Oh my goodness! Busio actually lives, and so does Quad.
Man, and they don't even have to burn a flash on the way out. The question is usually, though, when they are in a 2v4 like that, they should be getting something on the other side of the map. They really weren't. I mean, Inspired was clearing a few camps. They got a little bit of vision in River, but they still don't have any real pressure on the mid or the bot turrets. So I'd say VKS is also fairly happy with the way this early game's been going.
Important thing to point out right there, you just saw Inspired hit level 11 as he secured that chicken camp. So level 2 Daisy now online for the Ivern. Very, very important to always be having Daisy active whenever you can. Huge part of the power budget for the champion is in the proper usage of that ulti, as we will see Morteo's here on the Vera, still just taking up his defensive position in the mid lane, clearing those waves out. Does have his first lethality item completed with the Ghost Blade for the extra mobility, sidestepping away from the Jhin, dodging out on some of those deadly flourishes and curtain calls. But these two will just continue trying to push the waves out back and forth. As Miru versus Quad in the top lane, I think is going to continue to stay spicy as Miru continues trying to look for angles here onto the Emperor.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, I guess, yeah, Busio is able to hold his flash because he just goes up to the wall and Trimby kind of expects him to flash over it. So he does the little early magical journey. But yeah, okay, so Busio gets to hold his flash after all.
Yeah, max patience right there. I do feel like FlyQuest is also exercising a lot of patience as well, giving away the first 2 Drakes, the first Grubs, the first Rift Herald, the first turret, but they're getting as many minions as possible into Gakkos' pocket. Inspired has 2 core items now. He's going to hit that way faster than the Xin due to the lower cost of support items on the Ivern. So I'm feeling like the time to fight will definitely be around this Otacon and 3rd Drake, and those are going to be the fights that really decide this game.
The time to fight is always around Otacon, chat.
It's 1 kill in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I really am surprised at the overall low kill count in this first game. I know that a lot of times our game 1s in these best of 5s are the lower action ones as the teams are kind of getting a feel for each other and what to expect from the head-to-head. But this one, yeah, only 1 in 20 is a pretty small count as the Herald will drive it around the backside of the Dragon Pit. Okay, they're not going to get a whole lot more from that.
Well, this VKS team has a lot of threats, and so FlyQuest, they're not going to be able to afford to give over Otacon. They've given over a lot of objectives so far this game, as you guys have mentioned, but the Otacon takes so long to actually finish up, as well as is more dangerous, of course, than any dragons or grubs or herald or anything like that. So I think that FlyQuest, that's going to be the moment that they actually do choose, after they've gotten some time for their Azir to scale up. And they can really make use of the durability of Ivern plus Alistar. You see, this allows them to have an early spike of both Redemption as well as a Locket of the Iron Solari. Because you have Ivern, obviously, it doesn't mean, or it means that Busio doesn't have to rush the Redemption like so many supports have been doing, but that's a lot of team fight value with that heal and the shield from both those support items.
It is, but also Morteos has built a Serpent's Fang on the Varus to try and cut through a lot of those shields. It's a very disciplined game from FlyQuest, but my concern here is even though Gakkos is in a good game state, we know how much Whippo normally advances the game for FlyQuest, and I do remember the last time that Gakkos subbed in, they were in an okay state mid-game, and they didn't seem to have that same killer instinct. So where do they advance the game from here now as VKS goes for play? Yeah, the Tempered Fate onto Gakkos to try to lock him up, but Defiant Dance to try to buy a little bit more time here. Gakkos is still fine, and now Desamas is going to be the target as FlyQuest moves in. They brought everybody down. Quad's ready to join up now, too, and Vivo K-Star's got to be careful. The curtain call's firing off, and Desamas is already down. But while trying to find his way into the back line, but now he's in the middle of 4, and he's going to get gunned down, too. FlyQuest pick up 2, and Vivo K-Stars has nothing to say about it.
They try and make a pick on the new guy. Gakkos down here just stands strong. He fights it out, and the rest of FlyQuest were already very close on the map because Otacon is on the bottom side. Now they get to start it out here. VKS, though, they still have 3. They could go for more.
Keep your eyes on Miru. The Akali is the one to watch. Varus and Bard are just going to be throwing out some poke if they can. No jungler available on the Vivo K-Star side. Busio hanging out on this bottom side of the fight here. Ready to try to knock Miru out. Trimby goes in, tries to, but immediately gets locked down. It's the Otacon plus an additional kill for FlyQuest.
He wanted to steal it with his Spellbook, but they've also nerfed Spellbook Smite. So it's also harder to get those steals in the first place.
And they know that giving away these objectives will really slingshot FlyQuest ahead in the game. There's so much standing gold still on the turrets. That's exactly the break that FlyQuest was looking for, that extended 1-minute sequence that started here. Note all the support items we just talked about. The Locket, the Redemption, it all flies in to prevent this gank from working.
Exactly, and you look at the mini-map, everybody rotated over very quickly, and then you also have the teleport from Azir. So Xin only has flash for disengage. He can't get away from all of the long range here from FlyQuest. So that causes like this overcommitment. Boal as well, ults in, and that with those 2 kills, then you can use your moments. FlyQuest, the patience we've been talking about all game long for this team, finally bears some fruit for them. Being able to punish that attempted play on the side lane, and the rewards are huge because Otacon slingshot, with all those flowers, as well as getting your dragon and stopping that stacking from VKS.
And as we can see here, FlyQuest actually has the highest win percentage in domestic play from all the major regions, ahead of CFO, Gen.G, G2, and AL. So they're trying to use that domestic strength to beat VKS here. Still close in gold, but I do feel like that last fight was really crucial.
I think that a big thing too about that fight is that Gakkos never panicked even after getting barred ultimate. He didn't use his flash. Aurelia wants to be able to be a very potent split pusher with this build. You can see he has built up as well right here. So his split push with the hole breaker is very, very strong. His 1v1 is very, very strong. The on hit goes crazy with this Aurelia, and with his flash, he actually can buy a lot of extra time. So it allows FlyQuest a few more options than if they had, done any sort of panic in the last fight.
Yeah, not to mention, every time he's pushing up, Inspired's usually pretty close. At the very least, he's in redemption range to give him that extra effective health in any fight he might take.
Okay, it's a 1,500 gold lead for FlyQuest. They're feeling a lot better after picking up their first neutral objectives there. The Otacon was the first neutral objective FlyQuest got all game. Woo! Up until that point, Vivo K-Stars were running the show in that regard. But 25 minutes on the clock. Baron is now live. Trimby hanging around in this top side river brush here around the mid lane as Morteos, again, just going to try to keep these waves pushed out on the Varus. Stopping off for the Serpent's Fang. You mentioned it earlier, Jat. I really like this when you're up against an Ivern and all these shields that are going to get spammed, but it does slow down the core items that you would generally expect Varus to be building, to be strong in the mid game with the poke.
Now, as far as Cade, we need to highlight their burst damage and their ability to pick off individuals. FlyQuest, they need to play, as a 5-person group, or at the very least a 1-4 group, and try and make use of the double supports, basically, that they do have, since they're running Ivern, and make use of that, very strong grouping. But VKS, they have such burst damage available to them, and the possibilities of picking someone off with both a Bard and a Varus here are something to look out for. So FlyQuest have to be very careful when they're controlling their vision. You can see they move very cautiously, and most of the vision for them right now is fairly defensive on their own side of the map.
Yeah.
Nobody is venturing into Cade territory to get any deep wards by themselves. They would have to go group.
It definitely feels like FlyQuest is still in scaling mode, so it's good that they stopped the soul point stacking from VKS, and it's good that they got the Otacon, but they're not really making aggressive moves yet. They might be waiting for Quad to get that additional item, or for Gakkos to be 3 or 4 items up.
And here you can see it again, they're grouping. So FlyQuest, multiple members around mid lane, so they can have that caution around pushing, and then move in to actually get vision control over Baron, and then rotate over to a side lane here to kind of support each other in their map control. Now that the teleport is up for Quad on the Azir, they can also send Quad to the long lane. The Azir, with a lot more extra mobility down there, and with the multiple items completed, will feel fairly confident, at the very least, grabbing up the extra waves and putting down his Azir turret.
Confidence from Gakkos up there in that top lane as well. You could see he was not shy about jumping onto Miru, looking to pick a fight with the most fed player on the enemy team. Both of these solo lane carries about to hit that level 16 point as well. So big opportunity for some huge contributions to the next fight.
That's a great call, Flowers, because he's also building for it. Gakkos, built in to the extra Wit's End magic resist. So the on hit here from Aurelia is massive, massive, massive. He's almost level 16 there. And he's kind of building to go attack Akali and try and push that champion out of the fight. But Busio here.
Yeah, Busio wants the headbutt pulverize, and now Trimby's magical journey. He can't even get in the portal before he's picked off. Busio sets up another one for FlyQuest.
And just a nice CC lock. Alistair, Ivern, as well as the Aurelia stun will give them this next Drake, likely uncontested. So FlyQuest playing it very safe on the outset, but when they need to move in for an objective, are doing so with pinpoint precision.
And again, the grouping there, really nice from them. They move up in a squad, all in the same timers. Akali's flanking, though.
Yeah, but immediately they got to be careful. Disamus now locked up by Busio. The redemption comes down. FlyQuest staying topped off in terms of HP. The Mountain Drake was already secured by Gakkos. Miru was hanging around that area, was looking at that pincer attack, but just could not find the angle or the opportunity.
And I love how much they are playing around the new guy. They're making him as comfortable as possible. 2-0-3 on this Aurelia, 100% co-participation, and now another fight in mid.
Yeah, Quad got caught out there by the magical binding, but now onto Miru. So even though he's in the smoke, there's nothing that he can do. He's CC'd the entire time. Couldn't get a chance to go any further forward.
Let's see, Gakkos should be able to get the turret on bottom side for payment too. I mean, it does cost you Busio's ultimate. That is not very big of an expenditure for FlyQuest. Good denial there. You know, he's just basically the bodyguard on the squad, pops his ultimate, breaks the Varus ultimate. Gakkos gets extra solo tower gold here. The Aurelia continues to get fed. And this Aurelia, again, with the power of an Ivern behind him, as well as the extra Locket shield from Busio, can just go crazy.
We've been talking about how slow FlyQuest is playing it. We've been saying that they're scaling, that they're wanting to hit these big item breakpoints. Infinity Edge just purchased for Masu. The Wits End that you mentioned, Kobe, fully completed for Gakkos, making him so strong. Quad's got to be getting close to having his next item completion on the Azir there as well. I feel like we have to be approaching critical mass here for FlyQuest.
We are, and you can see Gakkos, 12,000 gold, richest player in the game. Checking out the experience as well with all the side laning he's been doing. Also the highest level in the game, 76% of the way to level 17. So it's time for the Aurelia to get involved. I completely agree.
I mean, every target is a kill target for him. There's no tank on that enemy team. He can definitely go after anyone who steps up from Cade. Cade, though, they do take away the blue buff during this time. There's still plenty of vision they have not been able to clear out. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of pick at the moment. I'm kind of curious about the side lane right now because it seems like Miru is just completely ceding the push to Gakkos, and I think he pretty much should at the moment with the extra magic resist over there. But when you have a Bard roaming around, it gets really interesting. If you can blow the Aurelia flash early on with a Bard ultimate, then Aurelia becomes a very real target to try and pick off. It's just that I feel like Gakkos has not been under any pressure this entire game. And the one moment that Cade tried to pressure him in the side lane, all of FlyQuest was close enough, and they had the extra teleport to fully respond.
I'd also say for as much as he's farming, he's done a lot of freezing. Like, he's oftentimes killing waves in safe positions, and FlyQuest has been in a very defensive posture for almost the whole game. So it's been difficult for VKS to try and slow the Aurelia down, but now with everyone grouping in mid lane, surely they're going to be waiting for some type of fight to break out. Yeah, Busio might be going in.
Yeah, he looks for the angle. Headbutt pulverized. Does find the engage with a redemption coming in for Vivo. Cade Stars now inspired. Got to be a little bit careful as Miru jumps in, but immediately pops the stasis, making sure that FlyQuest can't immediately retaliate. Now Miru tries to escape, but it's Quad who goes in for the Emperor's Divide. Nice flash away coming out from Miru, keeping himself alive. Disamas now has to get out here as well. Boal on the flank, but he can't find a kill. Miru is down. Morteos is going to go with them. Vivo Cade Stars are bleeding, and FlyQuest holds the knife. Cade loses 3, and FlyQuest marches over to Baron.
The Ivern shields are just too much. FlyQuest makes that fight as long as possible. Even though Busio's initial engage didn't catch anyone for sure, there was an extended re-engage where Gakkos just got to keep hitting. Now 4-0-4 on that Aurelia.
And Quad gets to go melee of Xin. Quad goes in melee, chasing the kill target here, and he's able to live. So let's take a look at it. Here is the initial engage. FlyQuest then kite back during it, but Miru is the target, and Miru getting chunked out here. Then Quad goes for it. He even flashes in, and he doesn't care that there's a Xin on him. A shield goes down on Quad, and that's all they even get through. So then, after everything's been opened up, the Aurelia does get to just prey on the rest of the members, rip them apart, and FlyQuest Ivern here, able to keep everybody alive, everybody safe, and allow them to collect the Baron.
Death's Dance completed onto Gakkos as well now. Next Drake 30 seconds away. I feel like they're just going to keep setting up around these objectives now with the 7,000 gold lead. This is really the comfort zone when you're with Ivern because they're likely able to set up first unless VKS can start the fight early.
Good body block there from Busio.
Okay, Tempered Fate finds Masu, but there's no way for anybody else to follow that one up. So Bard ulti down for VKS.
And FlyQuest is slow playing this. Gakkos has the teleport. He already took the top turret. Might be looking for more, but I would love to see him arrive for this Drake fight. He has Baron, though. He can get a lot done.
Yeah, he can get that tower probably. This Mountain Dragon will go down quickly, though.
Okay, FlyQuest on the approach with the 4-man push. Gakko still working on the tier 2 turret up there for the top side, but now he is going to teleport down and be ready to join the fight. Daisy tanking up everybody here for now as Disamas has already lost half of his HP before the fight even really starts. Quad goes golden. Into the back line go Miro and Boal, but they can't find the targets they need. Morteos is already down. A double kill for Quad. The fight's already over for VKS as Boal and Decimus have to run away. The Dragon goes to FlyQuest and 2 more kills do too. Miru tries to escape, but Quad is aggressive with the teleport. He wants to keep the pressure on here with the Baron. Busio goes over the wall, long range, deadly flourish, curtain call opens up. Miru survives the first 2. He dodges the third and the fourth shot. Claims it's poetry. FlyQuest 11-0, and they're on the push.
They waited 34 minutes, but then they really struck. This Baron power play already at 6,000 gold. They're continuing to push.
They're already through the first inhibitor turret. That first inhibitor falls right after. Gakko's putting the pressure on the second lane, but really, they still have the enemy carries dead for the next 30 seconds. Desamas trying to jump in the middle of everybody, but Trimby is already down. Boal can't find an entry point, and now another deadly flourish locks him up too. FlyQuest are just dog pilot in, and Morteos will fall on the steps of his own fountain. The ace to end the game, 15-0 for FlyQuest. They'll take game 1.
The control and the discipline of FlyQuest is on full display. They bring back the Ivern special, and Busio goes to camp for this top lane Aurelia that absolutely popped off Gakkos.
And Lounge, what do you think about a 10,000 gold Baron power play to cap off that FlyQuest victory?
Who won? I'm going to go with FlyQuest just because this Orianna Sivir is going to be so strong, but it's so hard to play these compositions with one engage, which is Vi against Galio comp. Yeah. So it is really going to be, can they scale like they did in game 1? If not, like, this blue side comp is still very, very good. I think this was a very good draft from both sides.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, that's our thoughts
now
on
to do
it.
an interview?
Yeah, I'm curious what the casters think about that one now with FlyQuest up 1 game in the series.
Thank you very much, Lounge. I'm thinking that I understand your points. I understand the ideas about scaling, but I would like more than 1 kill at 20 minutes here in this one. So I'm hoping everybody's got their hand warmers. They're warmed up after game number 1, and we can see a little bit more action in the early game here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we get some Jarvan action. I do really like how Galio and Renata can both be used as counter engage to a Vi or follow-up gauge to their own Jarvan going in, and try and punish the low mobility carries of Orianna and Sivir here. So a couple of flexible options there for VKS this time around. But I do kind of like what FlyQuest have set themselves up with, and especially for top lane with how well it went for Gakkos last time around. Getting him the Jax answer into the Gwen this time around. Though Gwen is going Ignite here, so be a little bit extra careful about the all-in.
I think getting Gakkos counterpick in as many situations as they can is just very important in keeping him comfortable for this series. I also do like what ThinkCard said about this just being a good draft for both teams. There's a reason that both of these teams won the North and the South respectively. They know how to pilot many different drafts and be very flexible in this Fearless format. So the Renata pick is great. Kobe, you mentioned that the Karma just doesn't look good to you. We blame Ayla for that.
The recent Karmas that we have seen have not looked so good.
We just feel like at top turret at some point, he's just going to die to the turret randomly. Just not sure. But in the context of the team composition, Karma Sivir, extra move speed, big empowered shields. If someone does actually get caught in the Jarvan Galio, which would be to me the one weakness of this team where Orianna and Sivir do not have innate dashes. So it's going to be an interesting game to watch.
Yeah, and for lane phase, it's actually really nice to have Karma, obviously. You know, you have really good poke there, your Karma poke and your Sivir poke. So we'll see how much they can get done.
All right, it's level 1. The minions have collided, and while we're waiting on the action to break out, we got ThinkCard standing by for an interview with Vivocade Stars Coach Seal.
You're on.
Hey, I'm here with Coach Seal. How are you feeling after the game 1? And I think the specific question I have to ask is, I think the Renata takeaway is very smart. Can you talk us through the logic there?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to come into us, and I mean, they can choose to play on 2 turns because they outrange us, right? And so we kind of want to force them onto like the outrange option and look to dive them, like counter dive them. So that's kind of the reason behind taking away the Renata. But most importantly, it was more so like, where can I put my playmakers in my team? And it just seemed feasible for me to put Trimby on Renata here. So because I think he has a lot of things he can do in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, thought that FlyQuest had the better draft, but until you took away the Renata, I was like, damn, like it's actually really close now. So thank you, Seal, for your input, and back to you guys.
He's dead.
Back to us and back to the spawn platform for Quad. Nice gank here. Not even 3 minutes into the game, Desamas is in the mid lane, setting it up for first blood.
Yep, the Jarvan is who we thought was going to get the early action going for you, and he delivers, Flowers. Are you happy?
I am entertained.
Going flash for flash, though, is good for Galio because you can constantly re-threaten those Jarvan ganks. So really good and efficient play. Now, 3-camp ganks have become a lot more popular this year with the changes to jungle. And we see them quite frequently, but it's very efficient to just do full red side, pass through mid on your way to your other side here.
Yeah.
Just takes a couple extra seconds,
Very good,
and
guys.
especially because the setup was
flash
so
around,
good.
okay.
Yeah,
And
when
I
you have a
also-
champion like Jarvan,
Yeah, I also got to say that that's the first kill of the series for VKS. So they were really hoping to pull something off early. They don't want to get outscaled like they did last time. But just a reminder, this is the #1 team from the South, and they have quite a history.
They certainly do, and coming back in 2003, and Coach Seal said it was going to be like this 5-year plan, and he's made a lot of changes.
A lot of faces.
The ones that we want to focus on are the solo lanes, as solo lanes right now are pretty big.
Gakkos nearly gets the solo kill, but instead he gets ignited. The minions are also going to attack him. Inspired ends up making the kill come through for FlyQuest. So it is still advantageous for FlyQuest because they get the assist money as well because Inspired shows up to help with that. But Bowl doing a great job there dealing with Gakkos. Gakkos thought he had enough damage and just barely missed out on it.
Ooh, yeah, and then Inspired, he's able to E, and the AoE from his E activation through the turret onto the Gwen to actually secure the kill. It does get Gakkos the assist, but Boao in the 1v1, gets the full kill credit there. Did have to invest all summoners from both players here as Gakkos teleported right back out.
Yeah, really aggressive from Gakkos, not having the Ignite advantage in that matchup, right? Boao will take the Ignite to try and avoid situations like that. I think very well played by him, though, to get the kill back. Still keeping the gold very even, and we're definitely getting much more action in this one than we did in Game 1.
Inspired, though, a pretty efficient guy. This is someone we always highlight. So he got to do a full clear into collecting that actual kill and
the
steal
Gromp.
away Gromp. So this is the very beginning of it where he steals away the Gromp. Wow, Gakkos, the communication is there. He's getting, Gwen super low. Thought he could finish it. The extra resistance is from the W, but we're back to live, and it's a counter kill there.
Dead Galio!
Quad has been able to secure the kill. Looks like Inspired flashed. So maybe it was a Q flash from Inspired to start it out, and they kill the Galio. They punish the Galio for offensively flashing last time around.
Yeah, we mentioned last time, like, oh yeah, this is great going flash for flash with the enemy guy because you can set up those repeat ganks. So can he.
Yeah, absolutely Inspired, keeping up his efficiency. If we don't get a replay of that, I went and checked it on my PC. He just came from bot river. It was a charged up Q flash. We're going to see it in the bottom screen right here. Immediately after the E from the Galio was used just to clear the wave and look for reset. So just perfect arrival there by Inspired, and another kill assist there for the Vi.
Really, really big stuff from him. This is a guy that everyone has talked about so frequently in the current year and the previous year.
Yeah,
actually,
a lot of talk.
Even the South players that we had on the Pros podcast, we're talking about, they would vote him as the most valuable player from both leagues. So a lot of respect there. Meanwhile, he's at it again.
Yep, Inspired's ready to arrive and shut down Boal up here. Gakkos sets it up, Inspired collects it, and that is feats of warfare claim for FlyQuest.
All done by Inspired. 2 kills and 1 assist. Ganks are 3 for 3, as well as being up in CS. That is the perfect first 7 minutes for the Vi.
And I want to keep highlighting, he's still clearing his camps while he's doing this. So he's just adding mid lane and top laners as extra camps on his clear and stealing away enemy Gromp. So like his farm is already ahead. Currently his blue's getting stolen.
Ooh, he might fight it, though.
Hey, he's got smite, though, so that definitely should be a steal for Jarvan. There you go. Good, at least little answer there for Jarvan to at least steal away blue. But Inspired has been incredibly time efficient with these ganks that he's gone for, too.
And I mean, that's one of the things that ThinkCard was talking about at the top of the day, right? Is if Vivo Kate Stars want to be able to keep up with Inspired, who everybody's looking at as this best jungler in the Western Hemisphere right now, you've got to make sure that you're staying efficient while you're making plays. Because he's always going to be doing that himself, if you're making plays and he's making plays, but for some reason he's always light years ahead of you in terms of farm, that's going to be a level lead. That's going to be a massive disadvantage as the game goes forward.
I will also say, as good as he is, when you are getting a lot of kills and a lot of CS and stuff and you're racking up a gold bounty, okay, it actually just dropped off of his head, but he had a gold bounty. Vi is a champion that has to be careful when she gets gold bounties.
Because it's easy to deliver them?
Yes, especially when you're playing into a Galio, into a Renata. But, you know, the bounty has actually dropped off his head, and at the moment, VKS will just at least start up the grubs.
It looks like they're going to be getting probably all three of them uncontested, as Inspired is still clearing his camps and none of the lanes are on the move. And it's a good point to bring up about the game state that Inspired's going to have to play into. There are a lot of champions set up to shut him down in teamfights, so it is very good that he had the good start to the game, but he needs to continue to play at a high level as the grubs all go over to VKS.
All right, all three grubs for them, but grubs are always more of a down payment objective. You still need to be able to have push in your lanes. You still need to be able to get firing time on the turrets to really have those pay off. So we'll see how VKS's macro can accommodate being able to secure that early advantage for themselves now for the second game in a row. It is already Feat of Warfare secured for the side of FlyQuest, so at least VKS off to a good start in trying to secure one of those others. It is another game, though, where we are seeing a very late first Dragon.
I think that they actually might make a mid play and then go for that, because the result of all this money on Inspired is that he has a fully finished Sundered Sky right now. So you know Inspired is feeling very powerful. He is the one on both teams, the only person with a fully completed item. So that gives you the authority to go then start up that Dragon. And it looks like everywhere else is just going to go for their regular resets.
Yeah, but I think they just get it because of the lane matchup top lane. Gakkos has the teleport, whereas Corki obviously does not with Flash and Barrier, so there would be a numbers advantage for FlyQuest anyway, and Vi very efficient at taking the Dragon.
Nicely done there for FlyQuest, as Boa will take his position trying to defend against Masu and Busio down here in this bottom lane. Honestly, we haven't really looked a lot at bottom through these first 10 minutes or so because there hasn't been a whole lot happening. It is slight gold leads across the board for everybody on the FlyQuest side, as Monster just keeps that pressure on. I can't actually tell if he got the plate or if it needs one more hit. Okay.
It's like
it's like the smallest
sliver away. He was trying to like ricochet it off of Boal, but he didn't. I didn't see the gold
9 HP. Okay, so it's at 3,009 out of 5K.
Don't you worry, that he's gonna get it.
Are you sure?
that's a lot of HP, Kobe. It's a whole 9.
Oh my goodness, the minion wave disappeared somehow. What the?
All right, plate secured there for Masu, getting this Sivir fed. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but the combination of the Sivir and the Karma together with On the Hunt plus the Mantra E just makes you so incredibly fast. And if FlyQuest does keep up this early game tempo, you know, they're already 1,500 gold ahead. That's pretty good for 10 minutes into the game. It can become very scary for VKS anytime they're away from the turrets.
I completely agree, but also with FlyQuest having this early gold lead, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get more aggressive, because the way they win this game is they get a lot of durability on Orianna, who's getting ganked again.
Okay, Quad under pressure, flashing out of the Cataclysm. So at least the Summoner spell earned for that driving gank.
But with no flash, that does mean he's going to be a target for the next Galio ultimate if they fight around an objective. That's why he needs to have the durability, and preferably Azonia's. And Sivir also with the barrier as well as Spell Shield. That's their defense against the driving Galio combo. If they fight without those tools, that's when they're going to be most vulnerable.
I mean, they're kind of rotating in here through the jungle to try and keep up their pressure as well. Orianna in the side lane, they definitely could prey on. So, like the look here from VKS, remaining aggressive in the early stages.
Okay, Busio's going to fight off Disamus. We do already have the Rod of Ages stacking for the Orianna. We've got the tier about 2/3 of the way charged up towards being able to immediately evolve into Seraphs once he completes the Archangels. I'm right there with you, Jet. I think it's going to be Seeker's Arm Guard as soon as those first 2 core items are done, and then he'll be feeling great.
FlyQuest have to be very careful at the moment. A lot of pressure here. VKS really do want to make some sort of move here with Jarvan Ultimates. You know, either get a flash out of the Sivir or try and punish the flashless Orianna. So Orianna, you know, is going to be the main target. But looks like he's pretty far pushed up. Inspired is going to hover around, and full protection from FlyQuest. So very nicely, I feel like, done from there.
They're really going for a play, though.
Teleport flank behind him.
Okay, Boal looking to make a play on the bottom side at the same time as Morteos has to try to flash away. Reinforced now by the grand entrance from the Galio. Inspired in some danger here with the vibe, but he wants to turn it right back around onto Desamas and the Jarvan. Meanwhile, bottom side, Quad versus Miru. Not quite going to work out the way they wanted to, as Busio and Inspired and Mazu are still fighting back here in this 3v4 in the mid lane. Boal did drop to Quad down there in the bottom lane while the massive fight was happening in mid.
That's so good for FlyQuest. A small miracle that Inspired is able to escape there using his ult on the way out. And I gotta see how Quad got that kill.
See, Inspired's just good. That's how he escaped. He actually,
He's just good.
He created the space, and he has, since he has, you know, the early lead, and then he uses his ult to get back to the Galio. Busio actually does a good thing. He walks up next to him. They heal and try and walk away, plus using his shield. But I think the reason why Miru dropped down to Quad, or Boal dropped down to Quad, he thought Miru was going to come to him.
Yeah.
So on this teleport, the call is probably kill this flashless Orianna. But because Inspired and Busio start the fight on the other side, Galio ends up going over there. Yeah, see, he actually was walking towards the Orianna, so that probably communication was like, Boal, move up, you know, play aggressively into it. And then they have this juke on the other side from Inspired. He goes over, uses his ult to cross, and then they move on up.
Weirdly enough, the Renata ultimate actually helped Inspired move away from the rest of the team as well. It's the icing on the cake.
And the last thing, too, the root from Busio on the Karma that locks up Miru as he tried to hit the Galio taunt, so no efficacy there either.
Yeah, so it seems like they've got the comms of, hey, Galio's going to teleport in. This Orianna has no, you know, flash, so Boal, you're free to grow aggressive. But then he went to the other side of the map, and Quad's like, great, I'll take the 1v1, because you just used everything.
Yeah, I feel like Trimby knows that that play was really bad for their overall state of the game. Already down one Drake, next one in 20 seconds. They expended a lot on that play with the teleport just to have it not go their way. And while all that was happening, Gakkos was getting free experience on the other side of the map as well. So that entire 1 kill for 0 for FlyQuest was essentially a 4v5.
Yeah, and money for himself. Trinity Force fully completed, extra Caulfield's Warhammer in tow as well. Jax will be an issue this time around.
20 seconds until the Rift Herald spawns. The second Drake is already live here on the map. Lost Chapter in the inventory of Quad alongside that now fully stacked tier, so he's about to hit another power spike on his next purchase once he can buy that Archangels into the Seraphs immediately.
Gwen with no completed item versus Jax Trinity Force Plus. That means free tower, and here comes Inspired again.
Yeah, it might be more than just a free tower. Inspired and Gakkos working together for the 2v1, and it's easy to get it. Gakkos picks up the 5th kill of the game for FlyQuest. Mazu getting jumped on now, though, and they do kill him off before Busio can try to protect him. Morteos and Trimby win out in the 2v2 here in the mid lane, but now Inspired's ready to make it an even trade. He jumps in, lands the ulti, killing spree Inspired.
And he wants to stop this Drake, too. We're not done.
Okay, Miru and Desamas trying to work on this one, but now a nice Cataclysm locks up Inspired. He wants to jump back over the wall here with a Vault Breaker, but the Galio ulti arrives a little bit too late. Inspired still on the run. He wants to protect the bounty. He's running all the way around. The blast cone might be able to get him away to safety and at least give some extra distance. Inspired still trying to run. Miru rooted up by Busio as he and Quad are providing distraction. Inspired gets out, and FlyQuest are onto the objective.
Is this an LTA playoffs game or an Inspired highlight reel?
Both. It is both.
Yes.
This is crazy work, man. What in the world? All right, we throw a lot of compliments at Inspired kind of universally, but this game is getting ridiculous.
Everywhere he goes just becomes a good play. That play started with Inspired killing the Gwen in the top lane. Shoots mid lane, cleans up a kill, shoots to Drake, stops the Drake, does the ring around the Rosie. What can't he do this series?
This is crazy work. Okay, so back to an actual good play from VKS. They get their kill, they jump immediately onto Masu and delete him, but as you say, coming from his previous play, killing off the top laner, Inspired's then able to clean up and kill an easy one. This is the real...
Absolutely no hesitation. He already knows because they're on the ward that he's just going to clean up the kill, leave from there. Knows that the Galio's cutting off the other direction, so he just extends this play by running out the back.
And it actually is fairly difficult for Vi to actually gain room to use your Qs when you're like that. Plus, he was also slowed by the exhaust. but he moved down perfectly to the bottom side of the Cataclysm to find the only open space for him to be able to release his Q without hitting someone to gain the distance, and then he releases the other one to avoid the knockup, and then the blast cone is there for the instant dragon pickup. It's like actually crazy.
And he knew he could run behind enemy lines to escape because he just killed the only other two guys that he wasn't seeing on his screen. There was no way somebody showed up to cut him off. Beautiful sequence there from Inspired. Obviously, while we were watching the replays, the Rift Herald was also taken, secured there by FlyQuest, who are 5,500 gold ahead now, 17.5 minutes into the game. They are stomping game 2.
They are, and I really do not want to lose the performance of Gakkos despite Inspired playing so well, because for a player that is this young, that only got 2 stage games with FlyQuest throughout the entire regular season, to come into a high pressure, basically finals qualification match, winner of this goes to the grand finals, and be way up on Aurelia in game 1, and now with the Jax counterpick into Gwen in game 2 being half of the gold lead, he is performing extremely well.
Busio in some danger though. VKS trying to full commit here to the Karma, but the flash out keeps Busio nice and healthy. FlyQuest trying to continue fighting this one as Boal makes his teleport into the fight now. Masu and Busio firing back onto Disamas as Inspired jumps into the middle of the fight and then flashes over the wall to avoid the aggro. Boal and Morteos trying to find the kills, and they've got one on Masu. They're going to pick up 2. Trimby's under pressure though, and Gakkos has the counter strike to beat him down. It's a bloody battle as FlyQuest lose both of their carries, but Inspired and Gakkos are both still alive. The front line, the bruisers here on this team are so difficult to deal with. It's a 3 for 2 for FlyQuest.
Looks like Miru was able to escape on the backside of that fight, but that was just an insanely well-played fight all around. FlyQuest playing at the max range this entire time, using the speed from the Karma and the Sivir to buy time for Gakkos to arrive on the back end. That felt like the last fight that VKS had in them that they could possibly win in this game, and FlyQuest, I think, outplayed them.
Yeah, so they start with the opener on the bottom lane again, which I do like from VKS. Busio, though, still had flash, so they're able to create a lot of time. Here, I think the Galio ult is a little early because FlyQuest aren't yet committed to that area of the map, and so Inspired kind of baits it out a little bit, I guess. They were a little bit antsy there. But then, with the Renata bailout here, gaining a little bit of time, VKS actually came away with, multiple kills there, considering the state of the game and how far they were down.
I shield for you, Masu, when I spawn. Oh, don't ask why I shielded.
We won't ask, okay?
Yeah. All right. They won the fight.
No questions.
Probably the right person.
FlyQuest still up about that 6,000 gold. And yeah, considering how far down VKS was, getting a 2 for 3 fight isn't that bad, but the clock is ticking against them. FlyQuest is continuing to build advantages. Otacon has now spawned on this bottom side of the map here yet again, and we're seeing a lot of bodies in the area.
Yeah, VKS, they just have to be very careful about the timings of their Galio ult and their Renata ult, because those two are really big teamfight winning ultimate abilities. And if FlyQuest have not fully committed to the area that they're using them in, then it's going to be very hard for them to actually overcome the deficit that they're looking at within items.
Ooh, Inspired trying to take his blue buff now, but the big engage coming out from VKS. Inspired, he's down. Beautiful pick. Arrives from Vivo Cade Stars on the enemy jungler, but now Trimby's under pressure. Gakkos going in here for the 4v5. Renata ulti doesn't get a whole lot of value. Trimby casts the bailout on himself, but it's not enough. Now Boal looking to put the pressure onto Masu as Disamus jumps into the back line, but it is not enough. Masu survives for so long as Gakkos has to try to get away from the enemy AD carry. He runs for the brushes, but he cannot escape. Quad and Busio versus 3. Miru drops down. It's a 2v2 in the back end of the fight. Morteos tries to go in and find the damage, but Quad gets the kill. Boal wants to get Busio, but he can't find him. It's an ace for 3. It's FlyQuest with the team fight.
That's some bloody LTA action for you, Flowers. Number 1 South versus number 1 North. In the end, Quad is able to carry the rest of the fight after VKS made a pick on Inspired, on the guy that has been making all these plays in the game. They started out with a huge pick on him. They kill him off before the Herald fully spawns. Inspired was trying to summon the Herald and then use the Herald as his getaway car, but all members of VKS attack simultaneously.
And I have to give them credit. That's a crazy play to attempt. A 5-man jungle invade to blue buff 30 seconds before the next Drake with Otacon up, and it almost pays off for them after they get a clean kill onto Inspired without really having to burn any ults. FlyQuest still says, guess you're not that strong. We're going to beat you in this 4v5 fight. Gakkos does a ton of damage around the outside, and I'd say Quad is the finisher in this fight, dodging that last Galio E and staying strong, finishing off the Corki with the assist of Otacon, who really wanted to be involved.
Watching Otacon fly into the lane and attack minion waves and champions never gets old. What a bloody fight. 8 dead out of 10 players all participating in the fight.
We got more.
Back to live. The Otacon's at half HP. Gakkos in the middle of everybody here, but it's a ton of damage onto Dizamas as well. He tries to go for the Cataclysm onto Quad to give himself a way out, but it won't work. Now Boal's going to be your next target as Inspired dives into the back line. Miru's under pressure and Morteos as well. The Galio ulti flies up. FlyQuest may have overcommitted. Morteos has managed to find a couple of kills. Trimby and Miru the last two standing, but FlyQuest are just too far ahead. 19-10. It's another ace for 2.
Yeah, the carries of FlyQuest are very strong now, and with the Otacon on top of it, this is really going to push FlyQuest over the edge. VKS made, another honorable attempt at, trying to take one of these team fights, but this one even more one-sided than the last, and the rewards will be greater.
And I love how different both of these games are, because this is FlyQuest with a 9,000 gold lead, and look at how VKS's composition wants to work here. So even though the Jarvan goes down early, watch how they actually can repel this dive. Once Gakkos and Inspired fly in, the Renata, the Galio, repel the dive, and actually both divers end up falling. I feel like it's only because FlyQuest is so far ahead that they can keep flying through with the Orianna and the Sivir to eventually win the fight. But you can see the concept of why this VKS composition could have worked in this game, but FlyQuest played so much more aggressively early in this game, accumulating kills to get the lead so they could do stuff like this later.
Yeah, exactly. The gold lead is just manifested in too much of an item difference. Now with Otacon, all these petals, 31 petals to their name that are all empowered, they're looking at this 3-minute timer for Dragon Soul with their mouths watering on the side of FlyQuest. So 3 minutes are on the clock, Flowers. Actually, we don't even have to wait that long.
Nope, it looks like Boal's going to be the target here. This is the problem when you go for TP Ignite. It paints a giant target on your back. Gakkos and Inspired, they needed a little bit more damage, but the Drain Tank deceptive durability of Gwen gets Boal out of there. He stays alive and avoids the potential play from FlyQuest.
Maybe we only put 20 seconds on the clock because Baron, they are really far ahead, so they could mess around with some Baron starts and look for turns, but the safer play would be play for Soul.
Yeah, they burned both Jax and Vilds going for that one. Boal did a great job getting the healing off, and Trimby's redemption saved him at the end. I do feel like if they find the right angle, they'll go back in, but I think they definitely want to wait for the Jax and the Vi ultimates. I think at this point, they're just going to try and keep mid lane pushed and repel any type of engage that VKS try on them.
At the very least, you want to get mid tower down before you would try and do too much Baron baiting from the side of FlyQuest. The mid tower is some nice defense for VKS to actually work off of and get some positioning, which is allowing them to go get plenty of Baron vision at the moment. So probably just play for Soul at the moment here for FlyQuest, although this play on the top side, VKS looking around for some objective bounty maybe before things get too spicy, but don't think they can overcommit to any side. FlyQuest territory is very dangerous for them.
Cloud Soul 2 feel like that synergizes so well for FlyQuest composition for so many of their characters. It's just so scary for VKS to then have to try to deal with that. We saw the bottom lane fight, how yes, they were managing to kite out the divers and they escaped the attack crew. It's going to be a lot harder if they run 4,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, and they still have Flash in case they do get Jarvan ulted that one time to escape the Galio ultimate. So their carries have been able to really maintain their elusiveness throughout this entire game. And FlyQuest, even though they played a lot of these fights aggressively, are in no rush at this point in the game. They'll take the Baron, I think, if it's a free B, but I believe they're probably just stalling this extra 50 seconds before the next Drake.
All right, that mid lane tier 1 that Kobe was talking about, that thing is at death's door, but Trimby and Morteos are doing a dedicated job keeping it alive. They want to continue being able to play around it. They want to continue having that bastion of safety, knowing that, yeah, even if they lose the Dragon Soul, it's going to be about this Baron every part of the conversation after. Still about an 8,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, still 3 Drakes to nothing. And I want to go back to something I mentioned earlier, because this is the second game in a row now that all 3 Grubs have gone to Vivo Cade Stars. They have no turrets taken. They have not been able to profit off of that early down payment they made for that objective, and there's really no value they've been able to derive from it. As the mid lane tier 1 turret is about to die, one more auto attack from Quad gets it done, throws the ball forward. No shockwave here just yet. Flash out from Disamas to make sure he doesn't get caught out by that one. Would have been a terrible time to lose your jungler, as FlyQuest now take the objective and march over towards the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, and Trimby's flash too. That was a high value shockwave. Quad gets 2 flashes before the Dragon Soul fight. I wonder, does that mean, okay, they're just going to send it up towards the Baron area. VKS are running up there at the moment. They want to at least threaten. If FlyQuest are going to take Dragon Soul, we're going to threaten you at Baron.
I think the threat is you better get over here, because they are full sending after the Baron right now, but it's not going down that fast. Masu solos out the Drake. It's Cloud Soul secured for the side of FlyQuest. Baron still only at about half HP. Disamas jumps in. Remember, there's no flash here for the Jarvan. There's no way to get back out, and he drops. Now Boal's in the middle of everybody, but the Hallowed Mist can't protect him forever. Morteo's under pressure, and Gakkos is looking to bring him down here with a counter-strike. They're so damn fast. A double kill back over to Gakkos, and only Miru is still left alive. Inspired is going to send him to meet his friends. That's an ace for nothing, plus a soul, plus a Baron, plus the game for FlyQuest.
15 kills to 0 in game 1, 24 to 10 here in game 2. FlyQuest wins slow and fast to take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, they came out swinging here in this second game. Inspired was all over the map, and once FlyQuest got ahead, they stayed there. 24 kills in 28 minutes, and the LTA North's #1 seed is on match point.
And they are looking very good with Gakkos in.
Yeah.
This is 2 good games from him on the Aurelia, on the Jax, on these melee carries. And FlyQuest looking strong.
They've done such a good job making Gakkos feel comfortable, and Inspired was insane in that game. Lounge, who was your MVP?
I'd say
that
FlyQuest is going to be able to kind of snowball in the first setup, but this Cade champion select is very skirmish heavy. This is one of those drafts that, you know, you've seen G2 pull off, especially against Gen G. You get that one team fight with the Yone, and then if you win that one skirmish and you have first setup for the rest of the game, you could really run over like every single team fight.
All right, let's see if they can pull it off. Let's see if they can take us to a game #4, or if FlyQuest is going to clean sweep their way to a fast pass to the grand finals in Dallas next Sunday. Dinkart, thank you so much for coming on here and offering us your wisdom and your mind for the draft yet again. We will be bringing him back if the series does continue on past this. But Kobe, Jack, it has not been looking good for Vivo Cade Stars so far. FlyQuest beat them slow, they beat them fast. They have got them figured out in these first 2 games.
Absolutely, and I don't think it's because FlyQuest has their number in draft. I feel like it's because they have their number in mid-game execution and just the way they see their win conditions in game. This is another draft that I think is very creative from VKS, with a lot of engage options, and it gives them a possibility to have an outplay in this game. They want to play fast, they want to play aggressive, and even though FlyQuest does have enough skirmishing champions, they're still going to want to scale and control these lanes. So let's see if FlyQuest can do it for a 3rd game in a row.
Yeah, I do think this Busio Nico is going to have a lot of value. Let's see about the early lane pressure. I mean, Misfortune plus Nico here into short-range Kai'Sa and melee support as well. If you don't have jungle kind of coming down to threaten ganks and stuff, you can just get pushed in constantly, chunked out constantly, and start to lose out on gold and experience as well as territory to work with.
Plus, not just the short range on the AD carry and the support, the difference in the keystones as well. Busio making sure that he's going for Comet for the extra trading power, extra early lane bullying, whereas Trimby is running that Summoner's Spellbook to try to give himself more creative options as the game goes on. But you got to get there if you want to have those options, and we'll see how well they can survive the storm here in this early lane.
And the other thing VKS have to do is track Inspired.
Whoa.
And they are starting out. So we did see this previously. I'm trying to remember which exact game it was. I was watching so many LCK and LPL VODs. But they did this previously, and this is the kind of new version of a lane swap, and where you just put your AD carry up there so you don't trigger the 2 people debuff on top side, and we're just having both of them matching and have both AD carries up on the top side, and so you get supports with top laners duoing on the bottom side of the map. This is the kind of new way around the lane swap restrictions for the first 3 minutes.
They're never getting rid of lane swap.
No, they're not.
They did as much as they could, man.
I am not jealous of the devs whose responsibility it is to try to cure the lane swap problem, because teams always find a new way to try to bring it back. Trimby still level 1 on the Rel, passing through mid lane now. As you can see, Disama's pathing towards his top side of the jungle. Both junglers did start on their own respective blue buffs, so pathing towards opposite sides of the map. Masu on the Misfortune does have control over the push up here in this top side, as well as that wave crashes into the tier 1 turret. And Busio, again, just kind of doing the same thing that Trimby did, passing through the mid lane here, making sure that everything's fine.
Yeah, so they're not going to be disadvantaged by this early shenanigans whatsoever. It's just going to be standard lanes just flipped around like they've already swapped up for this 3-minute, 30-second wave. But I also want to call to attention just this North versus South story that we've had. The 3 wins were all by Red Cannons as Quad.
Oh, that Q.
That last overload, if that would have hit, because he was also already marked with the spell flux, that probably kills.
Ooh, that was close. But close doesn't count it, Flowers. No first blood, no kill there. And Miro does get to continue farming here under tower. But yeah, I do think it was a smart move, because you avoid at least these super early stages of the really annoying dual lane for bottom side. So after the 3 minutes comes up, they're able to just go over here, double duo lanes once again. Inspired's going to go for his reset. As Dismiss does show on his way to the next crad. So Inspired is going to be a little bit ahead on timing here, gets his recall off first. Probably just go back into a nice re-clear though.
Okay, Trimby crashes down, trying to engage on Busio a little bit here, as the counter route from Busio does not hit a target, but still some good trading back from Busio and Masu to honestly come out pretty far ahead in the trade overall.
Yeah, Masu just standing strong, making sure to get the love tap on both of them. Still high health, keeping these waves pushed. And the Nico is still going to be able to apply a lot of pressure, having traded heals and being one summoner up in that 2v2.
I have to say, it's kind of interesting too, because both junglers are opposite side. So second re-clear here is going to end up on different sides. They actually, with the push, are just going to allow, Masu's going to pull the wave, focus up the minion damage, so it will slowly push in his direction, kind of, or at the very least deny a little bit of extra minions. But we've got some jungle on bot.
Okay, Gakdos still scrapping with Bowl here. However, Disamas has made his way forward, throws out the sapling, finds it in the brush. Not a whole lot more out of this. Gakdos survives easily.
Yeah, he's not sure about the whereabouts of Inspired quite yet, because their ward was on Raptors, and they didn't, they weren't 100% sure where he is, so he didn't want to like flash for it and trade flashes with Gakdos or something. And they're not especially high damage combination. So didn't want to over-invest anything and over-chase down there.
Yeah, and just small advantages accumulating for FlyQuest right now for about a 400 gold lead. So about 10 CS as Gakdos was able to get that wave in before recalling, getting through that risky part of the lane. I think if Dismas did want to flash in for that, there's a chance they get the kill. They at the very least would trade flashes. But I completely agree, if they do that blind and Inspired's there, it would have been a total disaster.
It's the Inspired effect, man. He just makes so much space in the enemy's mental because of the fact that they know his pathing is so efficient, that they know he's always looking for those plays. Busio will pass through mid lane, interrupt Miru's recall here, so at least send him off tempo a little bit.
Yeah, looking like Trundle at the moment, so they can't be completely sure. Now he swaps, so they know for sure.
It was a very short-lived period of dishonesty.
Yeah.
But we are going to have the objective focus continue. So Inspired does his second full clear down to this bottom side and should be able to easily pick up this dragon. Meanwhile, Masu is forced to drop a bit of CS to play safely down there in the 1v2, while Busio is doing Nico things.
Yeah, this is the earliest first Drake in the series by multiple minutes. Remember that in game number 1, game number 2, both, it was a very delayed first Drake take. This time around, it's not only super early, but it's a FlyQuest neutral objective super early, which Vivo Cade Stars were having much greater control of in the early games for games 1 and 2.
Yeah, and VKS, they really do need that Maokai ultimate to be able to bring the all in together, because they're going to need the multiple forms of engage while people still have flashes. So they're waiting for that. Should be able to get it off of his Gromp and blue buff here, but Inspired just plugging away on the Trundle, keeping up the farm, scaling up here, and Dragon number 1, as you said, is going to be on a fairly early timer for FlyQuest this time around.
Yep, so no rush whatsoever for FlyQuest, already being up 2-0 in this series. Having Gakkos play the entire time, I think he's looked great based off what our expectations were. He's gotten the counter pick in all 3 games. He's gotten large advantages in all 3 games, but also Inspired has really played through him, played through his top lane a lot. I also find it interesting the team dynamic that FlyQuest probably has with Gakkos. Whenever we hear or listen in, it's all Inspired and Busio talking. Bwipo took up so much calm space previously that they feel like just incredibly calm in these replays because so few voices are actually talking. Gakkos able to completely focus on his own play.
Okay, about a 500 gold lead here for FlyQuest as we have less than 10 seconds until the grubs spawn. Remember, both of the previous games, it has been 3-0 grub counts for Vivo Cade Stars. Game number 3, can they maintain that same level of control?
Yeah, I think FlyQuest should probably just start it up and burn them down. I mean, technically, Boal does have Sion ultimate, so Sion could try and quickly clear that wave, but he would have to start walking up now because FlyQuest are just burning this grub camp, and they've got all 5 here. There comes Sion. Okay, Sion's running up the river, so they want to kind of late contest it and look for the fight.
Okay, the second grub has already been secured by FlyQuest. Trimby wanted to try to go in there for the Shattering Strike, but he doesn't hit anything. Trimby's just going to get killed. The grubs 2-1 for FlyQuest, plus the additional kill. It's first blood over to Gakkos there for the Aatrox, but now he's going to get focused down. Miru jumps in, but a big bullet time over the top. Fires back into the VKS health bars. Boal tries to escape over the wall, but Inspired takes a bite out of him. It's 2 for 1 in grubs, it's 2 for 1 in kills, and it's feeling good for FlyQuest.
You could see how badly VKS wanted that fight to go well, as ThinkHard told us in the draft, if they get a little bit ahead and can be first to objectives, that's kind of the way they need to win this fight, so they needed that fight to work. But Trimby's engage doesn't work, and then Inspired threw the ult onto Sion on the re-engage, which allowed them to shred him down as well. Big win there for Fly.
I mean, I feel like you could just tell how pressured VKS are feeling.
Take it slow. I have W. I can block. Take it slow. Sion is ulting. Sion is ulting. He's coming.
Okay.
I will ult the Sion if we fight.
Think about Yone
Okay, I'm
ult.
ulting
Think
Sion.
about Yone ult.
Yone. Sion is ulted.
They're all 1 HP.
Yeah, Sion is
He
gonna
has
die.
flash. They're 1 HP.
Take it slow.
They're
Yeah,
so calm.
I feel like VKS were so pressured though because they were behind on getting there, and then they still Trimby went before Sion gets there, and they really didn't want to like let FlyQuest just get away with the 2 kills. But once Trimby goes in and Busio is able to flash that engage, then it's a huge, huge punish on the counter engage there. Because Rel, when you go in, you are putting your body at risk in going for that and forcing that flash. So I think good on Busio just flashing that engage. Wasn't too difficult for him to do, but good punish afterwards. He hit the root, and so they're able to just burst down Trimby before Sion even arrives.
Okay, so it's 2-1 grubs for FlyQuest. First Drake over to FlyQuest. They have the slight lead in kills by just having that 2-1 lead there as well. So honestly, first 10 minutes, everything's really coming up FlyQuest here. We do have only 60 seconds until our second Drake of the game spawns. Do we expect VKS to again just try to go for more of these heavy early skirmishes, playing around things like the Maokai ult and the Yone ult?
I think if they can get a good look, they're going to just absolutely pull the trigger. The one positive for VKS is they got a kill over onto Kai'Sa, and they have about a 20 CS advantage on that Kai'Sa versus the MF. So if they can get him accelerated in any way, and that could just be getting 2 kills at a Drake, it would be worth it. But I do think with them not really having any item advantages yet accumulated, it would be better to just hope that Drake lives as long as possible so Soul Point gets delayed.
Trimby, Desamus, both checking around up here. Trimby wanted to go for the recall interrupt there, but did not hit that one in time, so not going to accomplish a whole lot with it. 10 seconds here until that next Drake spawns. Inspired, hanging out around the mid lane, throws up the pillar, forces out the defensive fate sealed from Miru, which is great. That's a massive playmaking tool that VKS really wants to have if they want a challenge for a team fight for this dragon.
Yeah, interesting timing too, because Kai'Sa, you were just talking about, finishes the Kraken Slayer, but with no Yone ultimate, that I don't think you can actually fight if you don't have the Yone ultimate follow-up. Even though the item completions are coming in, Leandri is also now completed for the Maokai. It's just going to be number 2 here for FlyQuest.
Ooh,
No
Miru.
ult and no flash now.
Yeah, the pressure they're putting on him is a lot. First, you force the ulti. 30 seconds later, he's stuck in a spot where now the flash has to be spent. This Yone is going to be very vulnerable for quite a while.
It really is. Miru probably their best player, best performing player throughout the regular season, getting a lot of pressure thrown at him in this game. And FlyQuest just keeping the vision up with this incredibly annoying Nico clone, making it so no one can get sneak engaged on. Quad just going to build up that durability more and more. And because FlyQuest is just chilling on these two Drakes, they're in a very comfortable place in the game.
And it's probably about time, pretty close, to swap the Misfortune into mid lane and put the Rise into the side lane here too. So FlyQuest can get their side lane Rise going. Misfortune can use the strut to just rotate over very quickly in between minion waves. And then we'll be pretty safe here, as you're talking about. You know, Nico can get so much vision that Busio's trying to cover both sides.
Okay, a little bit of a battle for vision off to the side of mid lane, but there's not really anything to fight for just yet. The next thing that there should be a fight for would be the Rift Herald here just south of 2 minutes from now. Will be spawning up here in this top side, so I do expect to continue to see some battle for the vision around this area. Miru obviously still just trying to farm safely in the side lanes. Fate Sealed is back up now, so at least he will have that available as an escape mechanism, but the flash is going to be down for a very long time.
Yeah, and this may be getting annoying to some people, just constantly praising Inspired, but because it's a slow game, I want to just go back a little bit to that gank on the Yone. It was the perfect timing for a gank. He doesn't gank that often, and even though it didn't kill, like, the one window that VKS would have would be when Kaisa can arrive to a Drake fight with the item Power Spike. I feel like Inspired knew that, preempted with a gank mid lane to make it a non-contest, and now is just in this holding pattern until they get to the next Drake. But by that point in time, Masu's going to have his call popped, he's going to have a Bloodthirster, and the item advantage won't be there. So it's just constantly this guy is doing exactly what needs to be done to win the game.
And you just said it, the call just popped for Masu, so plus 450 on that one. Trimby and Miru, there's not a whole lot they can do down here in this 2v2 against Busio and Quad. When you're looking at Quad, he also just got that Rod of Ages fully completed, so he's going to start stacking on that. His tier also 5/6 of the way charged, past 300 stacks on that one. Everybody on FlyQuest moving along at exactly the pace they'd like to, but over on the other side, you do have the Leandries completed for Desamas. We know that this is a big spike in terms of how well Maokai can control neutral territory, particularly if you get there first, but that's a pretty big if at this point.
Yeah, and he's kind of been hovering around. You see this Maokai's been in the river for a long time, looking for angles for his ulti, dropping saplings here and there that will be empowered by that Leandries to be extra annoying, as you say. And they just don't see any sort of angle here. The Herald is on the map at the moment. It is not the biggest of objectives, but Inspired is here in the bush camping.
Spending a lot of time here.
There's no flash on that Yone.
Yeah, Miru jumps in, tries to snap right on back, but the Fate Sealed won't hit anything. Feet of Warfare claimed by FlyQuest.
So now Herald is available, so your logical kind of cross map is okay. I guess we're doing Herald now for VKS, but Trundle does not need a Herald to kill towers. When Trundle has Trinity Force, they can absolutely annihilate the tower. So yes, you can go for the cross map of the Herald, but the play to get the kill and the tower down here for the split push Rise is much more valuable for FlyQuest.
Yeah, and it's going to give them feats regardless, because they got the feats of Warfare as well as now feats of First Turret, a bunch of gold going over to Rise to also help match the Yone, now that the lane is going to get a bit more difficult with the Yone completing the Blade of the Ruin King. So another well-played sequence there by Inspired.
So we've been struggling with this for a long time, with the feats of turrets versus the feats of objectives. The feats of Warfare, the kill one is easy. That's cool to say, right?
It is feats of First Turret.
But what about something like the foundation or something? You know, what's it like the bottom of a structure, right? We got to.
I mean,
you could change the name.
That would be cool, but it is funnier to say feet of turret. Like.
Feats of First Turret. That's what it calls out in the game.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not a very good name. It could use a better name than that. So.
Feats of Demolition, I think, would be a good one.
That could work. That could work.
Like Demolition and Foundation and these sorts of things are like close, but they're definitely not quite there. So we'll continue to cook on
What do you call the neutral objective one?
Monster Slaying.
Oh, is it monster slaying? That's what. Oh, okay. I guess I just never paid attention to that line in the patch notes. But that one's not bad. I'm down with that one. Let's see what VKS can do here as they are moving into the enemy jungle a little bit, just kind of trying to see if they can contest any camps, maybe find anybody out of position on a vision rotation, but that's not going to happen. Busio's clones make this so difficult.
Yeah, and it's all about a snap engage if they want to get it, but at the same time, this is a situation where Gakkos can get a bunch of free turret damage, so I wonder if this is actually a Drake that FlyQuest doesn't engage on. Now the teleport's coming in, they look to contest.
Okay, teleport about to arrive with the Dragon at half HP. Vivo Kate Stars trying to maintain control over this objective as Boal's got to be a little bit careful now. Does try to get away back from the Pillar of Filth as Acadian Rain brings the Dragon low enough for it to be smited down. Oh, man! Pop Blossom with a bullet time! The bot lane from FlyQuest just shut this down!
Holy Busio, my man. Okay, well, first pick Nico. That had a lot of value.
Proto Belt is first, or sorry, Hextech Rocket Belt is his first item on Nico. None of this redemption for him. Uses that extra bit of mobility to clean up 4 kills. Yes, you got the Dragon, but that's probably the game. Look at what they get on top of this. They get mid-turret, quad teleported up to an already low top turret. They just slingshotted themselves ahead in this game.
I mean, there's nothing else to review.
My man.
You look at Busio.
One thing happens.
We're looking at Busio. Okay, Busio looks like Trundle right now.
Nope,
Yeah,
now he's Misfortune.
Now he looks like Misfortune. The Dragon is going to get low, and Inspired, you see him, he's not in range to smite at the moment, but he's softening up the Scion. So FlyQuest clearly don't even care about trying to smite steal. He just wanted to soften up the front line, and there you go. Busio,
5-man.
actually insane, and that is the whole review.
And now that we're back to live, it was another 2-for-1 trade. We completely missed what happened with that one, but it is Morteos and Trimby dead in trade for Busio, as Inspired also forces out the flash from Disamus at the end of the fight there with the pillar placed in that choke point of the brush near the Raptor camp. Now Miru knows that he could be in some danger. This tier 1 turret doesn't have a lot of health left on it. Soul Unbound already cast by Miru here as he tries to do enough damage to Gakkos to force him away. Disamus wants to make his way back up here now as well, but Quad goes forward. Miru tries to get out with a Q3 and Gakkos buries a sword in his back. Disamus can't escape underneath the tier 2. Inspired and Masu are both getting away, and with the tier 1 turret dead up here on the top side, Boal's in trouble as well. Busio's finally back in the fight, and the Scion cannot get away. Trimby with a big magnet storm, but there's no follow-up. It will not matter. The bullet time only needs one wave. Everybody on FlyQuest is still alive. Realm Warp to try to finish the ace, and Boal will not escape. They're chasing after him as he tries to clear the wave. Gakkos is going to lead the charge. It's an ace for FlyQuest.
They are absolutely steamrolling VKS in this game 3. 14 kills to 2 now. They're getting every turret in their wake as well.
And the FlyQuest cheers come out. Here's another look at the beginning. Okay, so how did they actually get those first 2 ones? It was the pick onto Busio that started out, but 2-for-1 with the commitment.
Oh man, and then just this extension play. I love how there's so much happening at the top lane, and then randomly Masu and Inspired are flying up the backside of this fight, chasing after the Maokai. Gakkos did a really good job sidestepping the Scion engage, so they easily pinch the Yone at the start of the fight.
Yeah, I feel like Gakkos has been extremely good. Nice little play from him. We're back to live.
Miru hits the Q3 onto 2, but now he's immediately killed right after. Gakkos gets the rampage, and Masu did a ton of the damage there as well. Disamus will not escape from this one. He tries to drop the Herald to take the Uber home, but it's not quite gonna work as it gets summoned up, and now we'll just get beat down before they can even get a charge out of it. 20 minutes into the game, it's nearly an 11,000 gold lead for FlyQuest.
Yep, this one is a beatdown from FlyQuest. The tower's gonna go down with the Scion, maybe.
Yep, they put him in the Rune Prison as he tries to get away. Step right in front, so the ulti cannot allow an escape either. And FlyQuest now, they're just marching straight into the enemy base. They don't need Otacon, they don't need Baron, they don't need anything except to keep going forward. Busio finds a Pop Blossom only on the Morteos. Now the follow-up there from Trimby guarantees Busio's death. Masu dies to Acathian Rain, and VKS have shut down both of the enemy bottom laners. Inspired and Quad are not going to take that lying down and pick up a return kill of their own. Gakkos joins the fight. Quad's going to be the target, but the Seraph's Embrace keeps him alive. Morteos finally takes him out of the very back end of the fight, but it cost the Kaisa too. That's 4 dead for 3 in a bloody battle in the mid lane.
And Inspired makes a call. We're not going to overstay for Inhibitor right now. We don't need to take the Inhibitor. Go for pillaging the jungle. take away all of the camps, all of this value here. The full red quadrant is available. So they split up the duties and they clear all 3 of those lanes. We got a nice little replay, picture-in-picture of Gakkos grabbing an extra kill.
Killed that Rel minion down in bot lane. Just another one of the 180 CS. I would
that
say
new skin?
That's like a super cannon minion.
A really big one.
Instead of riding a cart, it rides a metal horse.
Yeah, I gotta say, Inspired, get control of your team, man. They were too aggressive at that moment. I feel like they were way overconfident. They gave away bounties. They traded away back enough kills that they still have that 10,000 gold lead, but I think they're kind of more calmed down now, ready to set up this next Drake.
Yeah, I mean, Busio went for the engage onto Kai'Sa, but nobody else wanted to follow up damage on that engage, and they wanted to focus on the tower, on the objective. Wait a second. Speaking of objectives, it is a desperation Otacon, and it is going to be all 5 members of VKS. Teleports come in. FlyQuest running up the river. There's not much time, though.
Yeah, FlyQuest is coming in to try to stop him, but VKS is burning the objective down. Objective bounty claimed, and now VKS is trying to pile in for the kills. Busio gets the big pop blossom, and Miss Fortune's ulti tears everybody apart. VKS might have got their objective, but the fight belongs to FlyQuest. Triple kill, quadra kill to Masu. It's everybody else's job to just keep Disamus right there as Masu struts his way into the alcove, ready to collect his paycheck and take his pentakill.
That is a pentakill. That is a little bit of an anticlimactic pentakill with the last kill is literally this penned up Maokai, this tree in the alcove with nowhere to go. But the beginning of it was really cool.
Yes, sir.
All of VKS group up on quad. I actually like this. You know, they're kind of desperate. They're so far behind. They have to go for the Otacon. They full send it. Let's take a listen.
And the fight is gonna be good.
I'm gonna die, just fight.
Why? Rice?
Fine.
I'm gonna be in.
Penta?
I saw in. No flash.
I'm chasing Maokai too.
Okay. Maybe one strike.
Oh wait,
Don't kill right away.
Take it slow, we can give you.
Don't let him base.
Wait, I will
Does
show.
he have flash?
No.
Okay, thank you. You?
Sweet. Okay, the Drake is still...
Wait, he called Penta after the first kill.
He just started ulting and he was like, Penta?
He was like, this is Penta. He called Penta so early.
That's crazy.
Get it. But yeah, I like the quad part too. Bye guys, I'm dead. But they all grouped up on quad, and that allowed for the big ulti combination for FlyQuest, of course.
I mean, when you think about MF Nico combinations and why you would want to pick it, you just look at this game. They've pulled off some insane Nico MF ultimate combos. Even that one, he only got about half the channel off before Yone interrupted it, but it was enough to nearly secure the pentakill with one button press.
Baron spawns, and FlyQuest has immediately walked over to the area with an 11,000 gold lead already, with Soul Point being the state of the game. Just grabbing the Baron here feels like it's insta-GG. You can see VKS walking over. They want to try to defend this. Trimby's placing down whatever vision he can. There's a control ward in that back into the Baron pit, as FlyQuest are going to go ahead, take a couple of resets, make a couple of purchases here. You do have the Zhonya's Hourglass fully completed on quad as well. This Ryze is so hard to kill now.
Yeah, Ryze super far ahead, Aatrox super far ahead. Kai'Sa got a lot of bounties, though. So even after the Masu pentakill, he's only 500 gold ahead of the Kai'Sa and no meaningful item advantage. So if there's one player that would have an outside chance of carrying the game, it would be this Kai'Sa. It's just going to be so incredibly hard, though, with the overall gold lead being 10,000 for FlyQuest.
Right, you look at his 500, at Masu's 500 gold lead, and then top lane is 2,500. Then 3,500 in both jungle and mid. Inspired steps forward, throws out the pillar, forces out the flash from Boal. And that just means that the enemy front line is that much more vulnerable. Inspired still didn't bother using the subjugate. He just knows he has to push these guys back. And now the next time Boal steps up, there's no way he's getting back away from it. Instant Trundle ulti into the burst. We've seen it so many times already this game. And FlyQuest aren't even worried about fights. They're going in after the Baron. Void Seeker from Kai'Sa is going to fly into the pit and at least give them the idea, yes, this is what FlyQuest is up to. VKS on the approach, but the Baron has already been secured by Inspired. VKS, all 5 players now trying to disengage as Inspired keeps going forward. Nice pillar onto 3. No follow-up yet from the rest of Fly. Gakko's going around from behind, but Quad goes golden as immediately VKS trying to find the moment, and again it's Fucio with another beautiful pop blossom to guarantee the end of this fight and the end of this game, the end of this series. Gakko's godlike on the Aatrox with only Disamas left alive. FlyQuest are on the victory march.
That's going to be a 3-0 for FlyQuest. They are headed to finals in Texas.
FlyQuest, man, they look ferocious. People were wondering, with Gakkos in for the whole series, how tough are they going to be? And it looks like they were more than prepared for Vivocade Stars. FlyQuest completes the clean sweep and earn their spot in the grand finals in Dallas next weekend.
Calm, cool, and collected. Everybody on FlyQuest, even Masu's pentakill, got him a little happy, but not super hyped because they were in such control this entire time. I love the way they played around Gakkos. That was the one question mark about whether or not FlyQuest was going to be able to match their level of domestic dominance in this LTA cross-conference playoffs, and they absolutely did. They dominated